Now, the Australian Marine Complex was set up under the Gallop government many years ago, state government, and it's a case of a state government taking a risk, going out on a limb and building a facility, infrastructure. And so it was called the Australian Marine Complex. It's a case of build it and they will come. Well, that was the punt. The Gallop government was widely criticised for it initially, but the critics would call it a white elephant, but it's anything but that. It was a terrific decision, and it's a great example of where governments have a role in facilitating industrial growth by providing the basic infrastructure. And the AMC is an absolutely perfect example of that. So much so now that it's completely full and needs to expand. And over this direction, we can see the extent of the reclamation that the AMC sits on. So what goes on here? Well, the shipbuilding, and this great big blue building here, enormous building, will have ships built in it. There's very advanced engineering, subsea engineering, wellheads, undersea compressors, pipeline technology. A lot of that is done in here, and it's very advanced. Barges of kit for mine sites are imported on barges into here, and they are loaded onto big trucks for high and wide loads, which are sent out into the mining regions for installation. There are calls to have more room for the AMC to expand into, and for the defence industry to start up. So there is a very strong argument for the Australian Marine Complex to expand. Literally the only place it can expand is southwards offshore, which is the direction we've come from. So we'll take a left hand into the AMC now, and I'll just give you a quick tour through there, and then we'll head out again. We can't go onto any of the sites because of restrictions, but we can certainly drive through. So my key performance indicator for how well the AMC is doing is how many cars are parked on the verge. For many years, in the early days, you couldn't get a park anywhere. It was absolutely full. And then for several years, when we had the last downturn, no cars anywhere. But now they're coming back. So this place is really starting to get going again now. There's a lot of activity. There's a couple of big sites left. This one is now under construction, which is great to see. They're just assembling the kit to start building whatever it is that they're going to build. Again, you can see the scale of the Submarine building here, and the scale of the operations to the left, straight ahead of us, and to the right. This is a real success story. The red and white building over there is Matrix Engineering. They are a West Australian company, very, very advanced undersea technology that they're manufacturing. Over here is the Australian Submarine Corps, and if you look really carefully, you might even see a submarine that's extending out of the building at the moment. There's a floating dock in here to my hard left. You may be able to see that at some stage. That's a dock where the ship drives in, and it then floats up, and then it goes on rails. Here comes a high wide load passing us right now, heading up to the north somewhere, an oversized load. It looks like a very interesting bit of kit. Directly ahead there's some Navy ships and the submarine over there that you can see. So this is getting quite busy now. There's about 7 or 8 Navy ships that are up on the hard stand, and they're up for major maintenance, refitting. They might be changing an engine out or doing some sort of major work on it. The big building on our left is on railway lines and can move over towards the water, and I haven't seen it move too much, but it's quite a big effort to do that. But it does. Now on this downward side here, again, there are lots of Navy ships that you'll see, and they're all under major refitting work as well. So the Australian Marine Complex in the suburb of Henderson, it's on the map that I gave you earlier, is getting going again, and is very important to the Australian economy, and as the defence industry expands, there will be major expansion in this area. We're almost to the very north of the buffer zone now, and we're going to turn right just up here, but beyond that is the Water Corporation's Woodman Point Wastewater Treatment Plant. It's where the water that I talked about from the QWERP, the Kwinana Wastewater Reclamation Plant, comes from. So we've got all this way north, and that's where that water comes from on its journey out to the back of Garden Island. Secondary treated water, by the way. Now, directly ahead of us now, you'll see a tower. That's Coburn Cement's lime production facility, and is essential for industry. Alcoa wouldn't be here in this area if it wasn't for the production of lime locally. So very important in the industrial symbiosis space. I've spoken about the buffer before and some constraints. So this is in the city of Coburn. This part, the governance, local government governance of the Western Trade Coast is complex. We have 3 local governments. One has a long history, long association with industry, and gets industry. 2 of them are problematic for industry. The 2 that are problematic, both in some way are tending to support the rezoning of land that currently ensures residential development can't get too close, rezoning it to accommodate urban housing. So that, as I said right at the beginning, is a really big problem for industry, fundamental problem for industry, and state governments over the years have, and their supporting departments have failed to protect the buffer zone. The buffer zone is essential infrastructure for industry. We're trying again to have it preserved. The approach that we're using is trying to have it preserved with a special planning tool called a special control area, and that's currently in with the WA Planning Commission. It's a transparent, thorough process, and it is underway. We don't know how successful it's going to be. The buffer zone currently as it stands is big enough, but if it's starting to get whittled away by property developers looking for more and more marginal land for residential development, then we've got a problem. And I believe that this government will take us in the right direction to have that problem solved. We're now heading southwards on Stock Road. Notice that it's dual lane in each direction, and it's taking us, it transfers from Stock Road right now to Rockingham Road, and we're going through the suburb of Wattleup.